Nick Dunne, you're probably the most hated man in America right now. Did you kill your wife, Nick?
To get all of that stuff that was so fun and you know, good to chew in the novel into a 2-hour envelope is not something I wish on anybody. And luckily, Gillian Flynn, who already knew these people intimately and already knew this terrain, you know, took on incredible task of cutting 380 pages out of her tome.
How was your collaboration with her?
I'm not comfortable with the idea of we're gonna find it on the day. We're gonna, you know, I feel like you have to go in with a plan. You have to kind of go in and say, this is how, you know, this is how big the scene is. This is how much water it's carrying. This is what it needs to accomplish for us. But obviously, you know, you want to leave it open for people to say, wait, how about this? And here's an idea. I think the rehearsal process for me, and that's a part that Gillian was so involved with, was for her to see how we had to tailor things for the people that ended up being cast. And there was a lot of, you know, very, you know, small stuff, but there were things that were tailored for, you know, once we had Carrie Coon, you could tailor that relationship between Margot and Nick in a very specific way, because you go, she's going to be great at that. That's going to be great. I don't know about this, you know. That may be tertiary.
Which brings to my next question, the casting process. How was that process? How did you know those guys were the right people for the part?
I mean, it's instinct, and it's also, you know, you kind of work backwards from certain archetypes. There were obviously things in Ben's life that made him somebody that we could we could predict that he would be able to know how to behave under certain circumstances because he's been through it. And but with I think Ben was kind of like, it was kind of obvious. It was really a question of whether or not he wanted or was willing to play, you know, somebody who there's some embarrassing things that he has to kind of go through in this movie. But he was more than game, and Rosamund was somebody who I just had an instinct about, and when I met her, that instinct was really supported. And then it was really a question of saying to her, if I expect these 6 to 10 things from you, you know, is that going to get in the way of how you normally kind of craft the character?
You teamed up again with Trent and with Atticus.
Yep.
How was the process this time around?
It was different this time in that he, you know, neither of them were really available. They were on tour, and so neither of them were really available until we really had a cut of the movie. And I'd shown him a cut of the movie on Social Network, and that had worked. You know, we sort of found our way through that. They just sort of tossed up, well, what about this, and what about this, and what about... And we kind of stitched this thing together, but it wasn't supposed to be so much of the kind of sonic backdrop for the story. It's much more of a kind of driving. And Dragon Tattoo was something where they started scoring the movie before we started shooting the movie. So I was scouting locations with their music in my ears. And on this movie, we finished the movie, we showed it to them, and they had a very narrow window that they started just tossing ideas based on a kind of a thematic idea, which was ambient, kind of almost spa music. Mm-hmm. And so, this is Trent and Atticus's idea of calming.
Yeah.
You ever hear the expression, the simplest answer is often the correct one?
Actually, I've never found that to be true.